Hello, my name is Jackie Gilson. I am the school psychologist at Robinson School, and it's my pleasure to present today on how to best support your children in their reading and math development at home. I've said this in my prior presentation, and I think it's worth repeating that as educators, we will never be experts on your child. That's your job. Our job is, having worked with hundreds and hundreds of students, we have a clear idea of what is typical for your child educationally, socially, emotionally, intellectually. And given our general expertise on students and your specific expertise on your child, we always make a great team. So this presentation today is going to be 15 minutes long, and we're going to talk about the development of reading and math more generally in children, and also share with you some tips and strategies that you can use at home that'll both be really helpful, but more importantly, really fun. So first of all, to talk about reading development and what to expect. When your children are very young, ages birth to 2, the emphasis should just be on being exposed to books, exploring them, understanding the shape and size and texture of books. Children should become accustomed to listening to stories and might start imitating what reading looks like by turning pages from left to right, for example, or pointing to pictures that are familiar. As children enter toddlerhood and early childhood, ages 2 to 4, they may start recognizing some letters, can answer some simple questions based on what has been read to them, and they might even start to recognize some familiar words and even can read some very simple stories to themselves based on the pictures that they see in books. Moving on, ages 4 to 6, so kindergarten, very early elementary school, they begin to identify most letters and sounds, blending those sounds together to form words. They may read some very simple sentences and begin to understand some vocabulary. And finally, as they're entering into grade school, 6, 7, and onward, they're reading independently with increasing fluency. They can find errors in their reading and correct them, start to understand more complex ideas in stories. So we say in education that up until grade 3, students are learning to read. And once they learn to read, then they read in order to learn. That's a general guideline. Certainly, we have students that aren't reading fluently at the 3rd grade. That's fine, but that should be a general benchmark. And after 3rd grade, the reading expectations really step up, which is why early intervention, early exposure is so important for reading development. So at home, here's some general tips. Always be reading to your child a lot. Talk about books that you're reading. Find out what books interest your child. Visit your library. Be conscious about the vocabulary that you're using. Vocabulary is very strongly tied to intelligence. So be very thoughtful about exposing your child to vocabulary. Play letter and sound games. It should always be fun, and start with what your child is curious about. If they're curious about animals and the zoo, take them to the zoo. Let them be exposed to the vocabulary there. Make them aware of magazines, articles and papers, articles online, and certainly books about whatever it is that interests them. Realize that reading opportunities are all over the community, the stores you visit, all over your home, the parks you go to. And this is a very important point related to reading and math. Children do learn at their own pace. So even if your child isn't hitting all of those specific milestones that I pointed out at the beginning, it's okay. Children develop this skill at their own pace. My own children were not reading and recognizing letters with regularity when they started in kindergarten, but that regular exposure at home and certainly learning it in school caused them to catch up. And if you do have any specific concerns, Please, please, please reach out to your child's teacher. You can, of course, reach out to me here at Robinson School as well. I'm the school psychologist to all of our children. So, what I have here is a video I wanted to share with you, something I found on YouTube on very briefly these same reading milestones I just talked about. So, let's watch.
Hey there, amazing parents. Welcome back. Today, we're exploring reading milestones, those key stages that mark your child's journey to becoming a confident reader. Think of it as a treasure map to reading success. So, what exactly are reading milestones? These are important checkpoints in your child's reading development. Just like learning to walk or ride a bike, every child develops at their own pace, but knowing these milestones can help you guide them along the way. Let's break it down. Here are some key milestones you can look for. First up is pre-reading skills ages 0 to 5. This is where it all begins. Your child will start recognizing letters, understanding that print carries meaning, and listening to stories. Think of it as planting the seeds of literacy. Next up is emergent readers ages 5 to 7. Your little one will start to decode simple words and recognize some sight words. They might even be able to read short books with your help. They're starting to unlock the magic of reading. Then we have early readers ages 7 to 9. At this stage, kids begin to read more independently. They'll tackle longer sentences and understand basic story structures. They're ready to embark on exciting adventures through the pages of their books. And next comes fluent readers ages 9 to 12. Your child is now a reading pro. They can read different genres and understand more complex stories. They're diving deeper into captivating narratives and discovering new horizons in literature. And last, we have advanced readers ages 12 and up. They're not just reading, they're analyzing. Teens begin to think critically about what they read and can engage in discussions about themes and ideas. Welcome to the book club, kids. Remember, every child is unique. They might hit these milestones at different times, and that's perfectly okay. Celebrate their progress and keep the reading journey fun. Whether it's reading a bedtime story or finding a new favorite book, every moment counts. Here are some quick tips to support your child's reading journey. Number 1, read together. Set aside time for shared reading. Let them pick the book and don't forget to add in some funny voices. Number 2, talk about books. Ask questions about the story and encourage your child to express their thoughts. This boosts comprehension and confidence. Number 3, make it fun. Incorporate games and activities that reinforce reading skills. For example, try a game of word scavenger hunt. Write sight words on sticky notes and hide them around the house. As your child finds each word, they read it aloud. It's a fantastic way to get them moving while practicing their reading skills. And number 4, stay patient and positive. Every child learns at their own pace. Encourage and cheer them on, no matter where they are in their reading journey. And that's a wrap on understanding reading milestones.
What I want to share with you now are some wonderful reading websites that help you and your student further explore reading. The first one, Unite for Literacy, is a wonderful website that has dozens and dozens of free digital books. They can be translated into many different languages, and there's no subscription or anything like this or sign on. It's simply available to you as soon as you sign on to the website. The next one, Teacher Monster, is a variety of games. You do have to sign up. It's a lot of phonics instruction, and it's a great way to gamify, to create a game out of reading. And finally, National Geographic Kids is a wonderful website that kind of says, well, we know how to read, but what's fun about reading? Well, this explores science and the world, makes games, and creates experiences that are interesting and make you want to read and learn more. Moving on. So now let's switch over our focus to math. Math development starting at ages birth to 2 years old is about things such as surprisingly don't involve numbers. Understanding cause and effect. Things have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Sizes that are big or small, quantities. Little children like to show how many, maybe with their fingers. You might start to share with them various patterns that you recognize, explore measurement, match shapes, start reciting some numbers. It's ages 2 to 5 where you start identifying perhaps shapes in the real world, sorting things by color, shape, size, and purpose, understanding that numbers represent specific names. So the symbol 5 stands for the word five, and begin to understand things like time, that the day starts with a morning and then an afternoon and finally an evening, things like this. Next up, as students enter grade school, they become more aware of patterns. They understand 2 versus 3 dimensional shapes. They start counting to 100 by ones, twos, fives, and tens, writing and recognizing numbers, and performing basic addition and subtraction. Third grade, there's expansion on that basic number knowledge, moving from hands-on to expressing numbers on paper, working with money, doing some more addition and subtraction with more complicated computations, understanding place value, and some initial exposure to multiplication and division. And finally, in the fourth and fifth grades, an expansion of all of those skills. So, problem solving, applying math concepts to the real world, more applications of multiplication and division, estimation, decimals, things like this. So, more wonderful math websites. The first one that I'm sharing, 99 Math, as well as the second one, ABC SIA, is 2 websites that have various math games. The third one, Khan Academy, is actually a like a tutoring resource that goes down to not only tutor but also help students build very specific skills in math. Taking this math development to home, just like in reading, we want math to be fun. We want you to express your curiosity and kind of go wherever your child's curiosity takes them. Counting and calculation opportunities exist in your home, the stores you visit, prices, street signs, miles per hour, locations in parks and zoos and libraries. And cooking, which you do every day in your home, is math and science. Things like fractions, doubling recipes, measurement, the chemistry of what happens when something turns from a liquid to a solid, for example, steam that comes off food. And remember again that everyone learns and grows at their own pace. So if your child isn't hitting these milestones in the ways that more generally we describe them, that's absolutely fine. Remember, repetition is very important in mathematics and in reading. So keep it up. And if you do have concerns, of course, speak to your child's teacher, as well as reaching out to me, your child's school psychologist here at Robinson. That is my presentation. I've made my email here available on this last slide. I look forward to hearing from any and all of you, your feedback about these videos, as well as any specific concerns you might have about the growth and development of your child, both in school and in life. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.